Hi, intuitive viewers. Welcome. So happy to see you on this Sunday. And this is a new show that I'm starting on Sunday called Let's Chat on Sunday. And today I am so excited to introduce my first guest on this show. It's Marcie Layton. And Marcie is the host of the YouTube channel Spirit Made Me Do It. She has enhanced her intuitive skills through her own spiritual journey over the past 15 years. And she offers intuitive guidance through tarot and dream interpretation and other modalities. So, welcome, Marcie.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
You're so welcome. And tell me where you're from, Marcie, because I detect an accent.
Yes, I get teased about the accent. I actually grew up on Cape Cod. I live on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. So there's a little
Oh,
bit of Boston
nice.
in there. There's a little
I was
bit
going
of
to say
Rhode
that little
Island.
Boston. All right. Well, let's talk about you a little bit so we can get to know you a little bit and tell us about this 15-year spiritual journey and kind of how it led you to start Spirit Made Me Do It and the intention behind that channel.
It actually started probably when I was 2. I remember having my first experience of seeing an apparition. And that's an experience that I share with my older sister. And I had all of these little experiences, but I just thought everybody had these kind of experiences. And I think people do, and they just don't recognize them as being anything special, so to speak.
Right.
But the last 15 years, it's been a real concentration. I started with Reiki, trying to get a connection. Like I said, I had the connection the whole time, just wasn't really recognizing it, but kept working on it. I had a friend who disappeared when he was 15 years old. And that's when I first started praying to be psychic so I could help find missing children and do that type of work. But like I said, that whole time, all my years of growing up, I would hear voices. I would have voices come in at very crucial points in my life. I had a brain tumor, and the only reason we discovered it was because I heard a voice that said CAT scan. And I told my doctor that I was having headaches and I, thought I should have a CAT scan. And he had a CAT scan set
Right.
up, and they discovered a tumor behind my optical nerve. So it's stuff like that I was getting a lot. But the past 15 years, I've really been reading everything I can get a hold of, just getting back into the cards, just doing all sorts of different things, anything I could, taking classes from you, all sorts of different things, just to try to find it again. And like I said, it's with you all along. You just don't recognize what it is that you're doing. So I was finally able to recognize it over the past couple of years. It really became a lot stronger. And I started reading the cards professionally about a year and a half ago. And that's really kind of enhanced everything. But there have just been so many different ways that your abilities present to yourself that you don't even recognize. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if I'm being too clear on that. The dream interpretation stuff.
No, it really does. It really does.
When I first started with the dream interpretation, it was something I heard of when I was probably about 7 or 8 years old, hearing the Bible story about Joseph and his many-colored robe and how he was put in prison and interpreted a dream for the Pharaoh. And I thought, that's cool. I want to do that. And I was, like I said, about 7 or 8 years old when that happened. And I just kind of, bought books on it when I got older, and I'd hear people talk about dreams. And one day I was speaking with my friend Heather, and she said, you should do this as part of your readings. And I thought about it, and I said, well, tarot is all about the imagery in the cards, and it's all about the symbolism in the cards. So reading dreams is like having another set of tarot deck, another deck that you can play with to bring it all together. It's more communication from spirit. So made sense to me.
Right.
So figured I'd give it a
I
shot.
think, yeah, it does. It absolutely does. And I think that's a good point you make too, with your friend telling you that. And a lot of times, talking about how spirit talks to us, sometimes when we're either we're not picking it up or we're not, that's how spirit will come to us, is through other people. So I think that your friend probably was very prompted to tell you that and to get you to do this and add this to your practice. And like you said, they kind of go hand in hand. I never thought about that as they're both extremely symbolic. And do you get information or psychic information through your dreams?
Funny that you bring that up, because I almost never remember my dreams. Okay, but when I do, they are very meaningful. They do feel like they're important. And lots of times I'll wake up and I'll say, okay, I know something was told to me, but I don't remember it. But I just trust that my higher self knows what it's supposed to take
Right.
from the situation. So
Right. So they do it sounds like they definitely do play a part in your life, especially when it comes to, it sounds like, decision making and that kind of thing. And maybe things that are coming in that you'll, because I always think that that's what deja vu is. It's our dreams kind of giving us a heads up.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we have that deja vu, we may not remember the dream, but we recognize it as something significant, or we're recognizing something that we should pay attention to. Maybe not always. That's not always what it is. But to me, I think sometimes with deja vu, that's what it is.
Yeah. If you feel something is a sign, it's a sign. I mean, it's just how it is. And my friend Heather, who started me getting the idea of started me getting into the dream interpretation as part of the readings, she's incredibly adept at seeing signs and getting signs. Her instincts are incredible. She's absolutely amazing. So she's been a huge part of this journey. She's been, things kind of leveled up when she came into my life, and we've been friends for, I think we became March 20th, 2023 was the actual date, which is a palindrome. It's the same backwards as forward. And I just think that was kind of like a hint that this was a special relationship that was going to bring me to another level. And she really has been incredibly important in my journey. As you know, you see it, you go through certain people in certain times, and there's always somebody that brings you up to another level. So she's certainly been a big part of it, a big part of this level up that's been happening this time around. So very great.
That's great. That's great. And yeah, you do find that when you're going through, especially a spiritual journey, that you sometimes have to move on from certain people, and then other people do come in to support the journey. And it's clearly by design, right? There's nothing coincidental about it.
I really believe that. I'm one of those people that truly believes in soul contracts, and it's just more fun to believe that way, right?
It is. And I always think, when it comes to like people holding on to, should I believe this or should I not? It's kind of like, why not? Why not? Especially if it makes your life more understandable, it makes more sense, and you can deal with things better, and it just seems to work. Why wouldn't you just go with the flow? Just go with it and see what happens,
I always say it's like insider trading. You kind of get these clues as to what you're supposed to be doing, and it always just seems to work its way out. So let's go with it.
I think that's a great way to look at it. And people are asking if they're going to be able to ask questions. Yes. So Kelly asked, yes, you will be able to ask questions and even ask about the dreams that you've had. And I'm just going to ask about a few kind of Oh, well, let me ask you too. When did you decide to start your channel and why did you decide to start it? Spirit made me do it.
Spirit made me do it.
Spirit made me do
That's
it.
it. That's why it's named that. I always knew I was supposed to do some type of a public speaking thing. I always knew that was a big part of where I was supposed to be going. I really did not want to get on YouTube. I didn't want to do it. And it kept coming and coming. And I was like, eh. And finally I said, listen, I will do whatever you want me to do, but you've got to get me there because
Yeah.
I do not want to do this. So help me to be the best version of me. Help me to get to where you want me to be. And this is where I am. So for better or worse, this is where they have me. This is what I'm doing.
I had a very similar conversation with my guides, and I literally feel like every single thing I've done, I literally have just been stumbling and bumbling along. It really is my guides just being like, it's fine, just keep going, or just fine, just say yes, or it's fine, I'm just like, okay, I guess I'll do this now. But it is like that, Marcie, and it's a type of a leap of faith. It really is that you just have to believe that your guides will catch you. And it's not easy to put yourself out there in this way. You feel very vulnerable.
Yeah, you do. But
Yeah.
nothing that can happen to you here can diminish who you are. Right. Nothing that happens on the earth level can take away from your spirit, from your soul, and from who you are. So we're here to experiment. We're here to have different experiences. So yeah, I'll take it. Let's see where this goes. It's like I said earlier, I'm a fly by the seat of the pants kind of girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it. Let's jump. So
that's awesome. And it seems to be going great. It seems like you've met some awesome people. If you're like me, I mean, the people in this community have been, I mean, lifesavers in so many ways. I can't believe how blessed that I have been. And I'm sure you feel the same when Absolutely. It comes to the people that have reached out to you and that you get to meet that are it's sitting in the chat right now. They're all there. So this is the family. So so let's talk about dreams a little bit. So I picked out some ones that I know that people have that are kind of dreams that people have on masses. So what can you tell us about flying dreams when you have dreams where you're flying?
Flying is one of the anxiety dreams, and there are a number of anxiety dreams, but flying really is about feeling like you don't have any support underneath you. To me, that's how it feels. A flying dream is the fear of not being caught. It's a fear of not knowing where you're going or how things are going to end up. So that's a pretty basic fear. I think that we all have sometime during our life, that we don't know where we're going or what we're doing or whether or not we have a support system to catch us.
Right. Interesting. And then the other one that I think a lot of people have are you're sitting in class, even if it's been 30 years since you were in high school or whatever, or college, you're sitting there about to take a test. You haven't studied. You have no idea what you're taking, and you have to take that test. Or another one that I remember my mother used to have all the time was being in a play and not knowing what the lines were and knowing you had to perform. So to me, those seem like they kind of go hand in hand, similar things where you're unprepared, you don't know what's coming. So what can you tell us about those dreams?
That's exactly what it is. It's feeling like you're not prepared, being nervous about what's coming, whether or not you're going to be able to perform when the time comes. That's exactly what it is.
Right. Okay. So that's pretty basic. Yeah. But I know those are really popular dreams. One that I always have is about losing teeth. One will pop out and then I'll lose all my teeth.
That's really.
And I'm not obsessed with teeth or anything like that. So it's always a weird one for me. But yeah, go ahead.
Losing teeth is kind of a strange one. And when you think about it, it doesn't really fit as easily together as those other dreams, the anxiety dreams. When you're naked, it's about because you're a fear of being exposed for something, so stuff like that. Losing
Right.
your teeth usually has to do with the fear of the loss of money. It's
Interesting.
or not having enough money.
Uh-huh.
It could also be that you're having problems with your teeth, or that you might be having problems with your teeth. The
Right.
symbolism is very much like the cards. One thing can mean 100 different things. Like spider webs, for instance. If you have a dream about spider webs, that could be about creativity.
Oh,
But it can
interesting.
also be about being in a sticky situation.
Right.
Or it could
Right.
be about feeling like you're going to be caught, like dreams, like you're the anxiety dream of falling, like somebody will catch you, or
Right.
things like that. They can mean very different things. And you have to look at, just like the cards, you have to look at what's around it. What is the feeling in that situation? How were you feeling when you saw this? Was it in the background? Was it in the foreground? It's just a lot of different things come into play with dreams.
Right. And so that's why I think it's so great that you're doing this and you're able to interpret for people, because it is very personal. It sounds like you can give like an overall, you can look it up on a website, but it really is very personal to the person and what's going on with them in their life in that moment.
The funny thing is, with the way my tarot readings have been going lately, it's very important to have the dream aspect of it, because that's, again, another way that spirit communicates with you. My tarot readings lately have been really more about spirit, like coming in and saying, this is what we know you've been through. This is what we see in you. This is the potential that we see in you.
Mm.
And your mission, should you choose to accept it, is this. That's really kind of how my tarot readings have been going. It's really been spirit communicating right through me what they're seeing as potential in the person that I'm reading. So
Mhm.
having the dreams to work with as well, it kind of adds to that. It adds to whether or not I'm going in the right direction. It's just kind of like a backup of the tarot.
And it's funny you bring up potential, because I think, as particularly people that are, I find that a lot of people in this spiritual community are they're very humble. They're very humble people. A lot of times they want to help people. They want to do the right thing. They want to be good. And I think that sometimes spirit, it makes sense that you would say that spirit is constantly coming in, reminding us of our potential, because we may not think of it. We may not naturally hook into that, if you are, because you may think of it as being like high and mighty, or who do I think I am, thinking I can do this or that. But it is why we're here, is to kind of reach and go as far as we can. And that's what spirit wants for us. They don't necessarily want us to, I mean, humility is a nice quality, but they don't want us to be so humble that we don't see where we could go, or see where we could be, or do the things maybe that we wanted to when we came here. So I love that you're bringing up that spirit does remind us of our potential and try to push us towards that, even though we might be hesitant to start a YouTube channel or hesitant to get out there and do something, but they're really always pushing us, right?
Especially now, it seems. And there's a lot of people, with everything that's going on in the world, I think the feeling of not being worthy, not feeling worthy, it has been, I see it over and over and over again with some of the people that I've been reading. It just seems to be a theme right now. And it's sometimes it almost feels like recruiting. It almost feels like I'm recruiting people to, yeah.
I agree. I
Are you feeling
agree.
that too?
Absolutely. And it is almost like I keep saying, like, it's all hands on deck right now. I just feel
Yes.
like every person that feels like they have an affinity for this, or a deep interest in whatever it is, anything in this spiritual, there's so many things that, healers and people that work with tarot and people that work with all oracle cards, or they make cards, anything like that, crystals, that they really should get out there and share it, because we need everybody out there so that people can come into the community and find people that they resonate with. You will resonate with certain people. I will resonate with certain people, but we're not going to resonate with everybody.
Right.
And so there needs to be a lot of different light workers out there to reach people that are searching or looking or trying to find, what is next, or why am I here, or what's going on, or or being fearful or whatever. But I agree, it really is a kind of recruitment that's going on from spirit through all of us, really.
Yeah, there is a shift. The shift is absolutely coming, and I always agree with everything that you say about how we're already at the point that there's no going back. There's no stopping where this is going.
No, absolutely not. And it really is just a matter of how long it takes, because we're on the road. It could take a long time if we're constantly, feeling this heavy pushback. But the more people are hungry for spiritual stuff right now, and this is why, is because we're moving in this direction, and you're right, there's no stopping it. We're going. The train is left.
Wouldn't you have chosen this time? Because if I was on the other side planning things, I'd be like, oh, heck yeah, I want in on this, and I want to be right there in the mix. Put me in, coach, I'm ready to go. It just would have been, that's exactly what I would have done on the other side to get here for this time. It's incredibly exciting, and it's incredibly beautiful to watch the growth in people and to see people wanting to love and help other people. And it's more, it's a lot more than we're seeing. It happens a lot more often than what we see on TV and whatnot. So
I agree. I mean, because we, and we know that, television, especially the news, they want you to be afraid to tune in, find out why, lettuce is, making you sick. Tune in at 11. We've seen that since we were kids, or why, like Q-tips are the most dangerous thing in the world. It's like they want you to tune in. And so even the channels that we like and we watch, there is this element of fear in it, because they want you to show up and watch. But there's so much good going on, and there's so many good people doing wonderful work in the world right now for animals, for the environment, for even, scientists discovering cures for diseases that we've had forever. And all of these technologies coming in, and all of these things that are going to make the world so much better. It's all happening now. And you're right. It's an amazing time to be alive. It's exhausting, but it's amazing.
It's absolutely exhausting. That's why I've tuned out so much from watching TV. Unless I'm sick, I'm not watching TV. And if I'm watching TV, it's Pride and Prejudice. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Escapism, right? I took a break this week. I downloaded 2 seasons of Parks and Rec, and I'm like, I'm pretending that it's 2012. We haven't had any of this happen yet, and that's where I am right now. So that's what I've been doing this week. But I agree, you need to take breaks from it. You need to know what's going on. You can't stick your head in the sand, but you need to take breaks from it for sure. So I'm going to let some of these people in on this conversation, because they're just dying to get in.
Okay.
And some people are saying with flying dreams, they feel free, and they feel like, and I'm sure that is the truth as well. When,
right.
I also think it's our natural state. I think we fly when we're in the spirit realm. We do that. And so I think that there is something that maybe is hearkening back to going home, or what we feel like most of the time, that lightness of being.
Well, that can be astral travel as well. Like I said, it goes back to, how are you feeling during this part of the dream? How are you feeling at this part of the dream? And that way you get a better idea of where it's coming from. But then you have to look at everything else that's happening in the dream as well. If you're flying and feeling free, awesome. That's astral traveling.
Right.
That's you
Right.
flying.
Right.
Good for you.
Right. And so I just want to remind people to stick around at the end, because we're going to give a couple of readings away with Marcie, where she's going to use her tarot and her dream interpretation, and the readings sound awesome, Marcie. So
Thank you.
We'll do that at the end. So Judy wants to know, what is the meaning of dreams about horses, riding horses, or guiding it through a swamp area, herds of horses running on the plains? She's never owned a horse, but she dreams about horses all the time.
Well, this could be a past life thing where she was involved with horses, but the spirit of the horse, the freedom of the horse, galloping through a swampy area. Yeah, you're a little concerned about what might be going on in your life. There might be little things that you're fearful if it's part of a swampy area, something you can get stuck in. A herd of horses, finding your people. But finding the people that you want to be with. Absolutely. Dreams about horses. I'm a huge horse person, even though I don't own any either, but it's about freedom. It's about wanting to express yourself. It's all of those things. Again, it kind of has to go with what you were feeling during the dream as well. But definitely on the plain with other horses, yeah, you're looking to run free with your people.
And I don't want to insert into unnecessarily, but could some of these things, like having, I've never had a horse, I don't know what I dream about horses. Could some of this be connected to past lives?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I was just thinking maybe there's a horse in a past life that you had a real connection with, or horses, period. Right. I mean, but yeah, okay. So let's see. And this is, it's in the music, Diana. I've had a reoccurring dream lately of my father where I learned of his death after alienating him. Never happened. Do you think he's trying to send love, or is this about my current family circumstance? What about those kinds of things where you have maybe a relationship dream where it's nothing like the relationship that you had with them, but it's coming through a dream?
I think when you have relationship dreams like that, I think it's how you feel that you have not done enough. If you feel like you've alienated him, maybe you didn't feel as though you didn't feel like you told him enough. That's a lot of guilt kind of a thing. Where I learned of his death after alienating him. Okay. I really would feel like this might be that Diana might feel that she didn't pay enough attention to him at the time, or doesn't spend enough time with him if he's still around, or if he's already passed, that she didn't spend enough time with him then. You know how we all do that. When somebody we love passes, we always feel as though I could have done more. I could have done this. I could have done that. And it's, hindsight. Right. It's a hindsight type of a thing.
And symbolically, couldn't it mean that she's worried that maybe other family members could leave before she expresses how she feels, or how, he could just be the stand-in for another family member, or all family members.
Yeah. Absolutely. But if you're dreaming of him and he has passed, absolutely, they're sending love. My first husband who passed, the poor thing, every time he comes to me in a dream, I'm yelling at him. So I don't know what that but it's if they're showing up, it's their love. It's their love coming through, especially if you can feel them. If you can feel somebody in a dream, that's a visitation. That's not a dream. But sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right.
It just yes.
with because I get a lot of visitation dreams, and I always think that when it's a visitation, when it's over, when you recall it, it feels more like a memory than a dream. because a
Yes.
dream kind of fades, a dream kind of just, as the days go on. But when it's a visitation, it's fresh. It feels like it really happened. It feels like more like a memory you're recalling rather than a dream. That's at least how I tell the difference.
Yes.
Are there other ways to tell a visitation dream rather than just a dream?
Usually I had a dream one time, and I swear it was a visit from Jeshua. I was going through a very, very difficult time in my life. And there was this man standing there, and he was pouring water, and the water was rainbows as it was coming through. And I felt the comfort, and I felt the love. And that's how are you feeling during the dream is a big, big part of it. How are you feeling at that time? The colors are usually more vibrant. Sometimes you can even smell things, or like I said, the you can feel these people physically. About 6 months after my friend disappeared, I had a dream. We met in a normal spot where we would have met. And I was so happy to see him. And I gave him a big hug. And I said, "Where are you? We're trying to find you." And he said, "You know where I am." And I always felt, from the moment I heard that he was missing, I felt that he was no longer with us. And that to me was an affirmation that he had passed. And we still, to this day, he has not been found. But it was very strong. I felt that feeling of loss all over again when I woke up, because I literally forgot that he was gone until somebody said something, and then it all came to me that that he was no longer around, that he was still missing. So I mean, it just feels different. It just feels different when you have a visitation. The colors are different. Everything is different. It's like when people talk about a past life, everything was so much brighter on the other side. Everything was so much more clear and vivid. So again, it's a lot of that, a lot of how it just looks and just feels different when it's a visitation. I think we lost Kim. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let me see if I can scroll through here and see some other dreams. Okay. Be grateful. First of all, love the name. But you say, "I dream regularly of being with someone I dearly loved who died in 2013. Often these dreams involve problems with his extended family not behaving as he would have wished." That could be a concern. That could be a dream, that a visitation, and that he's kind of expressing this. I don't know if you're still connected with his family, but maybe there's a younger person, a younger sibling that this person had, that this person is concerned of, the person that has passed is concerned about. That might very well be. Or if you know of a situation in his family that is concerning you, that could be part of it as well. But that's very interesting to me. That sounds to me like it could be a concern that this person has. I don't know why I keep saying he, but that's what that feels like to me. Just the Patricia Epperson, very interesting. The other night I was in the most beautiful place No painting or picture could compare to the beauty. Rich people were there, and I knew I didn't belong there. That to me, Patricia, would tell me that you might have feelings of your own self-worth among certain people. Not necessarily that you feel that you are not worthy of anything, but maybe that you don't feel like you are worthy of those things, those riches. I'm going to tell you something right now. We are all worthy. We are all connected to source. We are all worthy. This is something that a lot of women, I find, more often than men, have issues with, is that feeling of being worthy. See what else we have here. Myrna Loy. Love the name, first of all. But the reoccurring dream since a kid of being trapped in a basement with a fire during a blitz in London, arms around kids and can't get out. And is that a dream about being stuck in life? That could be, but to me, that really, really feels more like a past life dream. I used to have one similar with that, where I was running through the woods holding a baby, and I knew that if I could get past this one point, that we were going to be safe. And yeah, that felt like a World War II dream as well. But this, Myrna, really, really feels like it might be a past life situation for you. But it could very well be you feeling stuck in life. But here's the thing, you've got to go by what you feel. It's just like sometimes when I'm reading cards, people will say, oh, for me, that kind of feels like this. Awesome. If that's what that feels like for you, then that's what that feels like for you. That'll bring everything. I love when people tell me that during a reading, because it kind of brings a different perspective into it, a different idea of what the reading could be about. It adds more to it. But Myrna, that absolutely feels like a past life dream to me. Cozumel, is your husband passed, or is he still here with you? Because I can't really, unless I really know that situation, I'm not really sure. Everyone else is full glowing light when I see anyone dead. It sounds to me like he may have already passed. And if he has passed, and you're seeing him as gray, I think that might be your concern about where he is now. Like, I don't know if you've ever worked with a medium for that, but I would try to go to a medium for that. To me, that feels like you might not think that he has passed over, that he's safe, or that he's where he's supposed to be if he has passed. Otherwise, I would really have to know more about that dream. I'm sorry. Oh. Is it in the music, Diana? Yes. If he's deceased, but your daughters are currently alienating you, I'm so sorry for that. That's a very difficult thing to go through. That might very well be it. And if you feel like this is him telling you that this is how she'll feel afterwards, if you don't reach out, if that's how you feel, you've really got to go with what you feel. You've really got to trust your own intuition. We all have these abilities. This is not something that's given to one and not the other. Yeah, sometimes it's like the piano. Some people are born Mozart. Some people can barely get through chopsticks. I can get through the first 10 notes of The Entertainer. That's as far as my gifts go there. But we all have these abilities to work on, and we all have our special gift and with certain things that we're supposed to be doing during this lifetime. Yes, the dream detective. Perfect. Yep. The symbols are not random. It is a language. Absolutely. Colleen McSpirit. I feel the same thing. I don't often remember my dreams. I really don't. And I think a big part of it is because my dogs usually wake me up in the morning. So they kind of disturb you and they get your mind onto something else before you can write things down. Try not to move too much when you first wake up. Try to, before you start moving, even rolling over, try to remember the last things that were in your head. It's not easy. Sometimes it's just not easy to remember them. Sometimes I feel like we're not really supposed to remember them. But keep a book by your bed and try to, when you wake up, try not to move until you get the thought of the dream, and then write it right down as quickly as you can. But I feel you, girl, because let me tell you, there's sometimes I'm like, I know this dream was important and I need to remember it, and I just can't. So Ian McGrath, absolutely. Ian says, I got my left shoulder broken by the Russian mafia. I have 7 pins in my shoulder. I dream about it maybe 12 times a year. The way it happened, I wake up in a cold sweat. The doc told me I have mild PTSD. It sounds to me like it might be a little more than mild if you're waking up 12 times a year with this. But yeah, this is something that you're going to have to work through. It does sound like that's what it is. I mean, fear of it happening again, I would imagine, has a lot to do with that as well. Or it could be some situations in your life that are maybe somehow reminiscent of that, that's bringing that up for you as well. James Cox, I had a wonderful dream about an old flame. It was very warm and loving and odd because it came out of nowhere. That happens from time to time. I think that's just like, it's like when I pull the 6 of Cups card out of a tarot deck. You have these feelings that you're not experiencing right now, and you want that warmth back. Could also be that that person is thinking of you at that time too, and on some level you realize this, and that's why it's showing up in your dream. So that could be something that you might want to look into. Carol, I had a dream about a vicious dog last night. I had been bitten by him, and then he was friendly, then vicious again. Could that just be as obvious as it sounds? Yes. It could be as obvious as it sounds. It could be that you have a fear of dogs. It could also be that you have someone that you aren't really fully trusting, somebody that you want to have a certain loyalty to, somebody that you think you should be able to trust, but you're not sure about that loyalty. You're not sure if it's somebody that you can trust. It could be that there is somebody, maybe at some point, who was a friend who then turned on you and then became friendly again and then turned on you. That whole frenemy type of a situation. I don't know where Kim went. I'm just going to check my phone real quick to see if there's anything that she's trying to send me that I should be doing here. Nope, I'm not getting anything. Okay, let's just keep going. Patricia, good for you that you're a vivid dreamer. That is awesome. There are so many different books out there that you can get on this, on different dream interpretations. Dream Moods is a good site to go on. I find them to, their answers to things really resonate with me as well. So you might want to look into that. Linda Weaver, what does it mean when I'm riding a wave or walking on a tightrope above water? Water is a funny thing. Water can be, it can be about pregnancy too. But water is usually emotional. it's usually something subconscious or it's spiritual. If you're walking on a tightrope above water, I would imagine that's a rather nerve-wracking kind of feeling. And if you're feeling that while you're walking across the water, there could be some things that you're concerned about coming up. You could be concerned about going deeper into maybe your emotional situation, maybe your childhood situation, something from the past. You could be afraid of your own emotions. You could be afraid of your own spiritual journey. Riding a wave. Riding a wave now to me sounds like you're in control of it. You're in control of the emotions, or you're in control of this journey. You're using your emotions to get you to a better place. You're working on things. The tightrope, I think I would really need to know a little more when I'm thinking about, because you're talking about how you're having control over your emotions when you're riding a wave. That's really interesting. That's got to be a fun dream. Let's see what we have. Janice, I have been flying in a small UFO, even saw my ET pilot and looked out the window and saw California burning. This was a few years ago, but before the big fires along the coastline. You're going to think I'm crazy when I say this, but that might have been an astral traveling experience. You may have very well been in a UFO looking at these things. It could be somewhat precognitive. As well. Well, it certainly sounds like it was precognitive. And we've got to remember that oftentimes people do have precognitive dreams. So pay attention. Yeah, I'd start writing things down, Janice. Just, keep writing things down and seeing. When you start writing down your dreams, you really kind of get a better idea of what the symbolism means to you. That's like you learning your own language from your guides. It's just another way that they can talk with you. Andy, I have dreams that feel important that are about bears. The bear is sometimes wild, sometimes elaborately dressed in a suit, and he says, "You don't belong here." I got nothing for that one, sweetie. I have no idea. I would really have to talk to you more about what's going on with that, but that's an interesting one. Although it could be kind of about taming the wild too. The bear sometimes wild, sometimes elaborately dressed in a suit. That could be how you feel about things. Maybe you don't feel like you're able to express yourself in certain situations. That could be something that's going on there, but I'd love to talk to you more on that one. Okay. Kim, 7, I have a repeated dream of trying to get home where I grew up, not my home now. To me, that seems as though I would say that you're longing for things from your childhood. You're longing for an easier time, maybe. Because you're trying to get home to the home that you grew up with. Could somebody please let me know if you can actually see me? I don't know if Kim's missing or if I'm missing. So, okay. I do not know what to do. I do not know what's going on here. But we're almost at an hour. Okay, great. I am lost without Kim. I have no idea what we're doing here. So all Comcast is down for Kim trying to get back on. Okay, thank you, Adam. Thank you so much. I'm just trying to figure out how we're going to give away things. I don't know how we will pick from the group. So that's what I'm concerned about. Okay. All right, let's see what else we have. The bear in the suit was across the street from me in a cute town. My side of the street was under construction. I was terrified. He stopped walking, looking at me, and said, "You don't belong here." To me, that sounds like there might be an actual person that is giving you these feelings. I think there might be somebody in your life, Andy. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but that really kind of feels that way to me, that it's the construction is you working on yourself. It's somebody I feel like is not making you feel welcomed. There, or there's a situation where you do not feel welcome. That's to me what that feels like. Okay, let me try to get up. Brenda Whelan, many dreams of being in castles, gargantuan buildings, trying to find my way to where I'm supposed to be. That is a typical anxiety dream about trying to find yourself. The world seems big to you. Everything seems so big to you, and you're feeling lost in this. You're feeling like you're supposed to be doing something, but you don't know what it is that you're supposed to be doing. I think you probably have been on a spiritual journey for a while, but I don't know that you were actively engaged in your spiritual journey. And I think this could be a sign that you should be really trying to get into things, to not feel so lost. Listen, we all are connected to spirit, source, God, whatever you want to call that, higher power. We are all connected there. We are all worthy in our connection alone. God lives in us as us. Spirit lives in us as us. How can we not be worthy? Be worthy. I'm sorry, my dog is crying, so I have to let him in. Okay, Bubba. All right. Sorry about that. Let me see what else we can do here. Rosie, what is the meaning of a reoccurring dream of being lost? What immediately came to me, which is kind of weird, is that you might have been lost as a child, and that might have been a really horrifying experience. And there could be things that are triggering that. Or like I was telling, I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was earlier. It could be your search for who you are. It could be your search for becoming that, your authentic self. That's really what it could very well be. My favorite dream, Karen Conroy. I punched my cheating, lying, horrible ex-husband. Yeah, we won't talk about that right now, but I can I understand why that would be your favorite dream if you've had that experience. Gina, I think we all astral travel every night. Yes, absolutely. That's what most people do believe, that it's a time where our soul does leave our body to astral travel, to kind of like, I don't know, join with the collective again. I don't know what we're doing because I don't remember a lot of my dreams. But yes, that's something that's a highly common belief. Okay, let's see. Yes, please hit the thumbs up button. Kelly Scarborough. Okay, that's all right. Jan Burke, here's a symbology that I've never come across. A couple of days ago in a dream, I heard someone say, "It's bad luck to have old glass in your windows." That's incredibly interesting. And my first feeling on that would be that was a communication from somebody, either one of your guides or somebody who has passed. That's just, I'm really feeling like grandmother energy with this. It's bad luck to have old glass in your windows. And I don't know why I'm doing this with my hand. This is something new. I have no idea. So I don't know if that means anything to you. And they're drawing attention to my earrings, which are dragonflies. So I don't know that that has something meaning to you or somebody else in this group. That's really, really interesting. That to me sounds more like that was something from a guide, or it could be somebody who has passed over who was just communicating with you. To me, that's kind of a way of saying old glass in your windows, getting out of the past. It's bad luck to stay in the past because, it's not the past is not a life sentence, and you can't live until you let go of the past. You can't live your future. That could be part of that as well.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. Hi, Marcie. Thank you for being a trooper. Comcast, what a great internet service. Kim, if you're listening on your phone, I think you should be able to get in now and do your thing. The Wi-Fi should be back. I was trying to tether. Terry by the Bay had said, use our cell, which I was trying to do, but her phone wouldn't connect to it. So I was seeing whether my thing could. Here comes Kim. Thanks so much. You live in a condo on 3 floors. I've been running up and down the stairs. So I made.
Oh no!
Okay, that's Kimmy. All right, bye. Thank you, Marcie.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. It's nice to have you back.
Oh my gosh. So is this why you were nervous, Marcie? Because you were going to have to sit on here for 25 minutes by yourself?
Oh, I don't know. It could have been a precognitive thing. I don't know. Who knows? But I think we did okay. I got to hit a couple of people with some of the dreams that were in the comments. So that was fun.
I'm so glad you just went with it. And I'm so glad you have your own channel because you were just so at home.
Thank you. So
I was listening, so it was fascinating. So yeah, and that's exactly what we were going to do, is just talk about people's dreams. So you're just fantastic. I'm so sorry, you guys. Comcast just went out, and I don't know what do you do? We're just sitting here going, well, Adam's running up and down the stairs. I'm like, I don't know what he's trying to do. Bless him.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
I'm so sorry about that, Marcie. So
no problem. Like I said, fly by the seat of my pants. I did.
Marcie's fabulous. Exactly, Carol Lamb. Thank you. Marcie's fabulous. So you were talking about some of the symbolic things. I was hoping Rob would be here. Rob has the weirdest dreams. Rob has these dreams that are, he's always dreaming about being deep in the cosmos, being like, I swear he's going into other dimensions in his dreams.
Could very well be.
He says he sees other realities, other dimensions, and they're so detailed. They're the most detailed, weird dreams. But I wonder about that. If there are people who do kind of just skip into other realities when they're in that dream state.
That's part of astral traveling.
Yeah.
And most people say that, well, there's a very common belief that we leave, our souls leave our body. We're kind of tethered as we dream because we go into different dimensions to reboot ourselves almost, that we we go back to the collective conscious, or we go and visit astral planes. Or I've heard some people say that I think it was actually Sterling Psychic Medium. Mm-hmm. I think it was actually him who said that we do absolutely travel to, sometimes we have other jobs that we're doing in conjunction with our jobs that we have on Earth, with what we're doing on Earth. So that sounds like that's something. I bet you he feels like he's a very old soul too. That sounds like a very, very old soul energy to me.
Yeah, it does. And that's interesting that he would say that. And I know, did you get to Kelly's dream about the tall blue man, because that's kind of along the same lines. If you're still reading, I was awoken by a dream of a tall blue man watching me, and in my sleep, but I could still sense him when I woke up.
Well, another thing that Sterling says is oftentimes our angels, our birth angels, our guides, they come in and they check on us, and that's what she's feeling is the residue. Tall and blue. Oh, I don't know. What that could be an ET guide.
Yeah.
That could be, who was blue?
I know there's like Palladians and there's Lumieres, there's different, things.
But there's a god, a Hindu god that's blue. I can't think of. It's funny, my nails are blue too. But there is I can't think of who. Is it Vishnu that's blue? There's a Hindu god that is blue.
Oh, so look that up, Kelly. Maybe there's something that you're tapping into that you're not realizing. Well, thank you. It's in the music, Diana, and thank you, Tarot by the Bay, for your donations, and thank you for joining the club too. Yeah, that's very, very interesting.
Especially saying that she could sense him when she woke up. That's absolutely a visitation from somebody. Yeah. Just checking in.
I had a visitation like that with Donald Trump's father, Fred Trump.
Right. Yeah.
I had him. He was in a dream, and I woke up, and he was standing there, and and he said that. That Trump, the father, and the grandfather had traveled into lifetimes before as 3 generations. And that he also in that reading said that Trump was supposed to go to jail. And that's the only time I've ever gotten, well, a couple other things I've gotten about him going to jail, but part of it was to have kind of an awakening in jail and to kind of stop the kind of end this kind of dishonesty or this, the stuff they've kind of been involved in, and have kind of an awakening and kind of put an end to it, break the cycle is what I want to say.
The generational cycle, absolutely.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting, but that was like that, where I was kind of like, I could just sense he was still there and kind of wanted to talk. But I'm sure if I hadn't woken up, it just would have all taken place in the dream state. So that's really interesting.
I have to say, though, I feel like he comes to you because you are very sympathetic to other people's plights. And I feel like he feels like you are somebody who could still have sympathy for his child, somebody who could still show a loving energy towards him. I think that's why he comes to you. Because that is who you are. You are just this. You remind me of like a little pixie. You're just like. Well, I don't know how to describe you, but you have such a beautiful, loving energy, Kim. You're so childlike. Not childish.
No, I know what you. I know what you mean, and I do feel that, and I feel like I don't think. I think some people think it's being naive, but I really do. I really do want to see the best in people, and I really do want to believe that everybody. The Anne Frank thing, right? Everybody deep down is good. There's some good in everybody. And you just have to, some people you have to really look hard. It's not easy to see.
I always go to the child. What happened to that child that made this person this way?
Right.
Because children are not born like that. Children are loving. And I mean, they're that direct. They are so close to source still in their young age.
Exactly.
That you have to wonder, what did that poor man go through to become who he, so far from source, to be so far from that. So it breaks my heart.
It is that it's, I think that you think about living a life completely removed from source that way. So like you said, so far from it, how unnerving and how frightening that would be, and how you would cling to earthly things if that's all you thought there was.
Right.
Maybe to the death, maybe you'd really, really cling hard, because it's, it would be a really, really scary place to be if that's really all you thought there was, is just stuff and money. And you know what I mean? It would be a very empty existence. And we also, if you have not walked in somebody's shoes, you don't know if you would not be the same way, if you would not react the same way or be the exact same person they are. Clearly something happened to this man that was, not normal. And yeah, gosh, Marcie, I just could talk to you and talk to you and talk to you. And I'm so sorry. This was so stressful.
No worries. Everything happens for a reason, I just go.
It really does. And I just kind of sat here and enjoyed listening. And I was kind of like, I used to have this same reaction when I was late to work and I was sitting in traffic, and I would just think, there is nothing I can do. So I'm just going to turn up the radio and and just listen. Well, let's do the giveaway, because I know everybody's waiting for that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have you type in a phrase. So get ready to type in the phrase. Okay. And we're going to take, how many are you giving away? Are you giving away 2, Marcie?
I like even numbers, but 2 seems too small. Let's go for 4.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Okay. So we're going to take number 1, number 7. What are 2 other favorite numbers of yours?
4.
4 and 8.
Sure.
1, 4, 7, and 8. And the phrase is Dreaming Tarot. And I will write it down. And then Dreaming Tarot. Number 1, number 4, 7, and 8. Okay, so number 1 is, woo, you guys are fast. Okay. Number 1 is Andy. And Andy's in my club. So Andy, you are number 1. Number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Patty Olson. Congratulations. 4, 5, 6, 7. Libra Love 1, 1, 1, 1. Love 1, 1, 1, 1. And Julie Owens. Julie Owens is number 8. All right.
Okay.
Okay. So Andy. Okay. So Andy, Patty Olson, Libra Love 1111, and Julie Owens. And where do they get a hold of you, Marcie?
If you go to info@AriesStotle, that's ARIES-STOTLE.com.
Okay, and send it to me, Marcie, and I'll put it in the description below. So it'll be there in just a minute. And if you can't find it or something happens, just send me an email at intuitiview@gmail.com and I'll get you there. I'll get you in touch with Marcie, okay? And Marcie, how do people find out? Is that where they find out about your readings too, if they want to get a reading?
No, if you want to get a reading, it's just ariesstotle.com. And that, again, that's ARIES-STOTLE.com.
Okay. All right. And she's going to send both of those to me. I will put them in the description. And I will also put in the description Marcie's channel, which is Spirit Made Me Do It, which is fantastic. It's fun and interesting. She always has very, I think, inspired and very timely topics that she talks about. And she flies by the seat of her pants. And she's a champion. Everyone's saying you're amazing. So thank you so much, Marcie. And thank you, everybody, for hanging out. I'm sorry I disappeared, but Marcie had it. It was all good.
Thank you so much for having me, Kim. I appreciate it more than you will ever know.
You are so welcome. And next week, we'll have another wonderful guest. We're going to be talking about quantum healing next Sunday. So it will be a chat about quantum healing next Sunday. All right, everybody, take care. Thank you, guys. Have a good Sunday. We'll see you again.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Marcie.